Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Brian Wills, coming to you live from Wills Chiropractic. Another great Wednesday. The weather's not quite as nice as it has been, unfortunately, but with some much needed rain. Before I get started today, though, I have to give a huge happy birthday shout out to my son Brady, who's turned 9 years old today. So it's his golden birthday. Brady, if you're out there listening, I love you, buddy. Hope you had a great day. Daddy's be home soon, so we can play. But this whole month, we want to talk about chiropractic's birthday. It's coming up. Chiropractic was born, so to speak, in Davenport, Iowa. We'll talk about a little bit about that next week at our Wednesday thing. But what I want to talk about this week is kind of dispel a myth or kind of inform you guys a little bit about joint cavitation. Now, you're probably thinking, what in the world is joint cavitation? Well, it's the popping noise you hear from your joints that you typically hear when you get adjusted, but not every technique elicits an audible or a joint cavitation there. So, chiropractors have been called, bone crushers and bone doctors because when people hear this crunching noise, this popping noise, they think that we're breaking bones or that we're, breaking joints and those types of things. And the popping noise you hear when you pop your knuckles or when you get adjusted is just gas escaping from the joint. So when we breathe in air, 78% of it is nitrogen. And that nitrogen gas kind of gets into our body fluids and it will build up in our joints. And when it builds up enough and creates enough pressure in there, you can actually release that by making that, that popping noise there. The thing is, you can't do it again for about 20 minutes till that gas builds back up in the joint. So it's basically the same as a bubble popping. So you pop the bubbles and you can't do it again until the joint kind of doesn't move for a while and gets more air in there. Then you can make that popping noise. Now, a lot of people think that the popping noise is actually the adjustment. Well, the adjustment really doesn't have much to do with the popping noise. There's a lot of adjusting techniques out there that make no noise whatsoever, okay, or make very minimal noise. So there are techniques that make a whole lot of noise. Some people like to hear the noise. Some people don't like to hear the noise. Me personally, I think it's the sound of health, so I love to hear that and think better than adjusting someone's spine. Hearing that nice little pop or that click and knowing that you get that bone right back in place, okay? The same thing happens when you get out of bed in the morning. So as you're laying there, you haven't moved your joints all night long, and then you get up and your first couple steps sound like Rice Krispies where all the joints are popping and cracking and crunching and everything else. That's your body, A, putting the joints back where they belong, and then B, squeezing all the air out of them as well because they've been kind of sitting around all night. So another big wives' tale out there is that if you pop your knuckles, like your fingers, you'll get arthritis, which couldn't be further from the truth. There's no scientific studies at all that show that popping your neck or your back or any other joint for that matter causes arthritis. However, if you do move the joint in a wrong manner, so as long as you go with the joint, you pull your fingers, you kind of just push on them a little bit, that's not going to cause any damage at all. I've seen some people, when they pop their fingers, they twist them, or they'll grab their hair and grab their chin and try to twist their head off, basically. That's going to do some joint damage there, all right? Going against the joint, kind of forcing things. But going with the joint, getting a chiropractic adjustment is very healthy for the joints, very healthy for the discs in between the joints, if there are some, and the ligaments and tendons and those types of things in there. So the popping noise really doesn't really equate to moving the joint. It's just kind of gas escaping from the joint. So the next time you're at your chiropractor and you get an adjustment, you kind of understand what that popping noise is. And the next time you get out of a chair, especially when you're my age, 43 years old, you get all kinds of noises come from joints because the joints don't move like they're supposed to move in there. So the last one that I want to kind of dispel is that people think if they, pop their neck, they move around and pop their neck, that they're throwing their neck out or they're somehow misaligning themselves. All you're doing when you're moving around and you're popping things, you twist a little bit and pop it, is you're already moving joints that are already mobile. As a chiropractor, my job is to find the joints that you can't move. So for instance, you have 7 vertebrae in your neck, all right? You may be able to move 5 of them, but there may be 2 of them that are stuck. So you can move around all you want, and you can make all kinds of popping noise, but you're not really popping the joint that needs to move. You're just making noise on the joints above and below, okay? My job is to find where those segments where they can't move and release that joint. That's why adjustment feels so good, is because you're releasing joints that have been stuck together for a long time, and those joints send signals right to your brain, kind of feeding your brain a nutrient of motion, which our brains have to have. All of our joints have to be moving for our brain to get the nutrition that it needs. So that's one of the reasons why chiropractic is so important. So hopefully today you learned a little bit about joint cavitation. Again, there's a lot of misnomers out there about popping your knuckles and popping your joints. Hopefully you learned something about it today. Next week, we're going to talk about some more kind of myths and legends about chiropractic and about health in general. And we'll also celebrate chiropractic's 125th birthday next week. So until then, you guys keep living the dream.